Celsius in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo Makine. It's day 7, October 2025. Welcome to the show. 26 degrees here in Lagos. Well, quite a number of things happening all over the nation, Maupe, particularly concerning this whole tinted permit thing. Your take?
Indeed, Ayo. Well, we do understand that the tinted permit ought to have taken effect or should have started by now as a result of the fact that, there have been quite a number of postponements giving Nigerians room for the start of the tinted or the takeoff of this permit, so to speak. But I don't know if a lot of Nigerians are aware, because clearly a lot of people are also not happy with the implementation of such a policy. The police is asking every Nigerian who has a vehicle that's got a tint on it to obtain a permit from them. They actually have a portal to that effect. So it's not the first time they've tried to implement this. Over a decade ago, over a decade ago, they did try to bring up this policy under another Inspector General of Police. It started, but somehow it was halted. It's unclear the circumstances under which it was halted. But right now, the policy has come again, and it appears that the police is now set to bring it into effect. We've seen quite a number of monitorings by the commissioners of police in different states, to tell you how high up this goes, and to make sure that citizens and residents of those states who are driving vehicles with tint on their vehicles have the required permits to be able to drive those cars around. Now, why is the police up in arms with those who have tint on their vehicles? They contend that quite a number of crimes have been committed with vehicles that have tint in them, and that if you must drive one around, then you must obtain the requisite permits from them. Now, there have been questions as to how exactly does this stop crime, or how exactly does this prevent crime. I don't think that the police brought up that conversation for debate. All they did was say, look, we give you so and so much time to obtain the permits. And there are those who have said, look, we need the permits for health reasons, we need the permits for security reasons, we need the permits for privacy. Whatever your reason is to, have tint on your vehicle, the police is not arguing with you. All they are saying is make sure that you have a permit. Now, there are those who have, I think some lawyers have gone to court to challenge the police. One of the matters, I think, is now being, a stay of execution has been, is it a stay now, or status quo has been asked to be maintained. In this instance, the police say, well, they have not yet received, they've not been served that particular document. It's unclear if they have now been served. But according to them, they say that the court document is neither a stay, and that if the court is asking them to maintain status quo is that they have already started implementation. So that is the status quo that they are going to be maintaining. A very interesting discussion, Ayo, if you ask me. Nigerians in this report that we have also expressed their opinion on it. Some people say, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I'm happy to get my permit. Some other people say, look, this is just another money-making machine for the police, because if I get a permit now, why do I have to renew the permit every year? What exactly, is necessitating that? Why is it not with my vehicle particulars? So, quite a number of, issues, Ayo. And do not seek my opinion on this, because it shall not be favorable towards the Nigerian police. Over now to you.
Well, I can understand that, and I think a good number of people will be on that side with you. So is that lawyer that you talked about, John Aikpokpo Martins, who took the IG and the Nigeria police to court and got an order granting leave to serve the originating summons and other processes of the court, saying that, look, this whole tinted glass permit policy should be put on hold for now, pending the determination of motion on notice and all of that. Well, for me, two things I see, number one, Maupe. Number one is communication. I don't know how well. Putting out information is one thing. communicating with people. Getting the people's buying is another thing. We talk about that all the time on this here at the Channels Television. The second thing that I see here is trust. It's difficult for people to trust government. And any agency of government, no matter how wonderful the ideal is, don't forget you have that trust quotient to deal with, and we have to find every means necessary to ensure that we communicate that trust to people. If we don't buy back that trust, enforcing some of these lofty, you may want to call them, policies will be a problem. Also, it's important to ensure that the people, the men and officers of the police who are going to enforce these laws are educated and they are humane. We've had situations in the past where the police would tell a citizen with a tinted glass to tear it off right there in front of them for whatever reason. I really don't know what to make of that one, but let Nigerians also understand the rules of engagement. What are the things that have to come to play in the enforcement of this policy so that people can know that, okay, you are doing this in our interest, in our favor, and all of that. So, well, again, even though we know that there's been postponement for quite a while, I don't know how much communication went out to people generally. Putting out information is not enough. It's like water. It has to percolate into the earth before people can take ownership of it properly. So many issues to look at it from that perspective, Marco, but I guess time will tell on how we evolve from here.
Well, Ayo, I think it's really important for the Nigerian police and, of course, the generality of our viewers to take a look. To be very honest, there are some things that when you see, you want to say, what exactly are you hiding? You know, what do you need this level of tinting for? But I also would want the police to, you know, give consideration to the fact that a number of vehicles these days, people do not ask for the tint to be put in their cars. They come factory fitted. And the way it's normally done is that, you know, the front will not be tinted, but the back will be slightly tinted, so much so that you can still see the person who is still seated at the back of the vehicle, you know, if you were to peek through. And I think that a differentiation ought to really be made in that regard. But hey, the police is not making any differentiation. If your car has got a tint, by all means get the permit, because the police says they have not yet received any court summons or any court injunction, and the status quo means that the implementation stands. But here's the report to help you understand it.
The nationwide enforcement of the tinted glass permit appears to have taken off on a cautious note as many motorists in the nation's capital ply the roads without the permit. According to the National Automotive Design and Development Council, Nigeria, as at 2024, boasts an estimated 11.8 million vehicles traversing its roads. Although the enforcement of the tinted glass permit is yet to begin, in Abuja, Niger, Lagos and other states have commenced the enforcement, with the Niger State Commissioner of Police personally monitoring the exercise in Minna, the state's capital.
You know, we have given the 2nd of October to be the day of enforcement of tinted glass permit. So that is why I myself decided to come out with my men, you know, to supervise all my DPOs and area commands and make sure that that order is being enforced today, as directed by my Inspector General of Police.
A member of the Niger State House of Assembly representing Boso constituency, who was among motorists stopped during the exercise to provide his tinted glass permit, commends the police commissioner for leading by example in the enforcement exercise.
For me to be amongst those people that they have checked, honestly, that has given me more confidence in the Nigerian police force.
Citing the Motor Vehicles Prohibition of Tinted Glass Act 2004, the force public relations officer insists there's no going back on the enforcement.
There's a law in place for that. If you must tint your glass, if you must be inconspicuous, if you must be very covert, then we need to have your details so that if things happen, it's easier to trace the criminal. If the vehicle was registered in your name and you sell the vehicle and you don't change some of these details, so if the vehicle is used to commit a crime, then I'm coming for you and you are just innocent because you have sold the vehicle.
Although the police insist the permit remains a vital security regulation used to curb criminal activities and enhance public safety, some residents disagree.
Police has not been able to prove that people who use tinted glasses are either kidnappers or armed robbers or bandits. Those are not the problems we have now.
I don't see any reason they will ask you for permission to get tinted glass permission before you can use your car. I honestly do not see anything that anybody will gain from it.
However, motorists are divided on the cost of renewing the permit annually.
It has turned out to become a way of money-making machine for the police, because other countries, what they do is that you have factory-fitted cars where, as they're coming out from the factories, these cars are tinted. And so for a situation like that, what are they going to do? This is something they've been doing every year. For us, we just see it as a money-making machine for the police, full stop.
If the government have the power to reduce it from 14, wherever, to let them just drop a bit. With that one, it will help everybody. I'm not against tinted permits.
The Nigerian Bar Association is not taking the enforcement with kids' gloves, as a federal high court sitting in Warri issued an order directing the Nigeria Police Force and the Inspector General of Police to maintain the status quo in the ongoing case concerning the tinted glass permit. Delivering the interim order, the court directed the police authorities to respect judicial processes pending further proceedings in the matter. However, the police insist that the case by the NBA does not amount to a stay of action.
There's been no hearing, there's been no court order, there's been no injunction. So for now, we maintain status quo. Status quo in this sense is continuing with our enforcement, continuing with the enforcement of the existing law for tinted permits.
As the enforcement gains traction nationwide, the police is urging motorists to ensure their vehicles have valid and verifiable tinted glass permit documents, as violators are at risk of their cars being impounded.
Well, that is the situation of things. And, well, we'll continue to see whether or not the police will give us an update, especially with regards to the court matter on the ground. But we are switching gears now to, matters directly related with security, because this tinted permit is supposed to also enhance security, which we'll be coming to in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Thank you so much for staying with us this morning. We begin the conversation, of course, we're definitely coming back to that discussion that Mahokwe mentioned concerning security. But then we have this first conversation to have on the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum and Imo State Governor, Senator Hope Uzodimma, who presented his latest book on the APC's leadership of Nigeria over the past 10 years. Let's find out what all of that means with Professor Bennett Chima Nwaguma, who is here with us in the studio. He reviewed the book at the launch. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you.
It is the natural response anyone is going to first of all give to you is, look, as far as we're concerned, the book will be nothing but praising him, because, of course, he is the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum. He is a governor of a state, and he is a very solid member of the party. So it is only natural for him to talk more from the pro side and not from the con side. Is that what people are likely to see?
Well, that's not what they will see, because I'm sure the author knew that the real value in this book will lie in having a balanced account. And so it was surprising to note that he did in his best effort to write a balanced book on their achievements, the challenges they've faced, where they've not met their promises as a governing political party. And And if you do take a look at the book, you'll find a chapter that is dedicated to common criticisms of the APC government in the last 10 years.
That's courageous. But from your own perspective, I mean, as the reviewer, you're an academic. And yes. What was your first impression when you knew you had to review the book?
Well, the first impression was, well, curiosity, but the first impression was when you tell your story, you tell it in the best form possible.
Of course, throw the light on yourself.
That's correct. That's very correct. And like the author said, and the president said at the presentation, public presentation of the book, they said, if you don't tell your story, no one will tell it. So it's important that you tell your story. And as you know, when you present a document of this nature, people are going to have that view that he's told his story. The critics usually are extreme in their criticisms. And the man telling his story is also, you know, kind, maybe exaggerate with telling his story. The truth, like they say, is always somewhere in the middle. Yes.
So what were your findings in reviewing the book?
Well, a very thoroughly written book, very rich in the political history of this country. And, you know, the most remarkable thing about the political content of this book, the historical content, is the author established a very interesting link between the political history of Nigeria in terms of party formation, manifesto, and doctrines, and contemporary Nigerian politics, and how progressivism seems to be the central link in all these parties.
Okay, well, I really want to hear more. How many pages are we talking about here?
373 pages.
Gosh.
You know, split into 10 chapters.
First question in my head is, who has the patience to read 300 books these days? You know, but you know, I mean, it's a historical document.
A reference
document.
That's
Thank
correct,
you very much. So, what were your observations as you reviewed the book? Can you give us a snippet of some of the things that you had to talk about when you reviewed the book?
Well, at the book review, I made a distinction between the 3 different segments of the book. In the first 3 chapters, he laid the background to what to expect. So he talked about the history of, you know, party politics in Nigeria, and then the history of progressive governance of politics across the world, and then highlighted the manifesto with which the APC campaigned in 2015, and that enabled them to emerge victorious. And then in the central part of the book that I refer to the kernel of the book, the author highlighted the main achievements in the different sectors and gave a sector-by-sector account through that chapter onto chapter 5. Again, he tried to make the link between this program's policies, legislations, and the promises as contained in the manifesto. So these were not off-the-cuff projects, but this was them trying to deliver on the manifesto, on the campaign promises. And then that went on to chapters 7 and 9. In chapter 8, he tries to then highlight the criticisms that they have faced and how they are responding to them. And in the final section of the book, he tries to predict what the future holds for Nigeria under the APC governance.
Please permit me to go to the criticisms. It's because many people, as you said, it's natural for you to want to throw light on yourself. But no matter how well lit the room is, so long as there is any infrastructure in the room, there will be some dark patches here and there.
Naturally.
So tell us about some of those criticisms in the book and how he addressed them.
Well, the criticisms bother on, people have criticized the economic reforms and the impact it's having on the people. They've criticized even what they refer to as internal democracy within the party, the pace of some of the reforms in the public sector and the public service, progress in the fight against corruption, some, you know, describing it as rather slow, and then criticisms of the success recorded in the fight against insecurity, stuff like that.
Okay. well, are they valid according to the book? Are they valid criticisms? How did he address them?
Well, he received them as valid, genuine criticisms, yes. And they did acknowledge that, yes, the progress, so much progress has been made. The progress hasn't been as fast as they had hoped for, but it is work in progress, and that forms part of what he says that the APC is going to do going forward.
Do you think that the title of the book was able to address, well, sufficiently or significantly capture the essence of the book, a decade of progressive, impactful governance in Nigeria?
Oh yes, he stayed on the subject.
Okay.
You know, built the background, like I said, in chapters 1, 2, and 3. In chapters 4, 5, the kernel of the work, the impact they've had, and then 7 and 8 dedicated to the impact in diplomacy, and then in foreign relations, and then in the next chapter, impact on inclusiveness, what the party has done to address.
You know, one of the things that I usually, find interesting is whether or not they expected or anticipated some of the challenges that they had to encounter. You said that they, according to the book, things are not happening as quickly as they expected that they would happen. Now, that's a normal thing in governance, isn't it?
Oh, true.
Okay, so how does that demonstrate a preparedness or a lack of it for governance, according to the book, from what you can see?
Well, there was preparedness, I would say, because they campaigned. I mean, I'm referring to the book now. The APC claimed their campaign was based on the fact that it had identified the failings and the weaknesses of the governing PDP, and then tailored their manifesto campaign promises to address those weaknesses. So they were prepared.
Okay.
But again, when you open the door, sometimes you're surprised at what you see. And then projections usually, differ from, expectations oftentimes differ from observations.
Well, I know my colleague Marco will want to jump in on this conversation at some point, but that comparison between the PDP and the APC, was it in any way reflected in the book?
Oh yes, there's a chapter dedicated to that, where the author compares the last 10 years of the PDP administration and then the 10 years of the APC administration. Drew that comparison. In a chapter, dedicated a chapter to it.
Okay. And well, as I said, it's expected that the APC will say they've performed better than the PDP, but the circumstances of Nigerians may not be saying exactly the fact that, okay, things have improved. How does the book address that?
Well, it's in the details.
Okay.
It does address it sufficiently. And that's where the rigor comes in. The rigor that went into the research, that went into preparing. There's not headline stuff, but real rigor with statistics, with figures, that can be cross-checked.
One of the things that I usually struggle with is how initiatives of governments, political parties, address the concerns, particularly of young people. It's one thing to have documented manifestos. It's another thing for the people to trust that manifesto of the party. From the accounts of the book, do you see that rigor go into marketing or communicating the manifestos, the intentions, the plans and programs of the party to the people, particularly young people?
Well, I would say so, because some of the programs, especially the welfare programs, the social welfare programs, actually address the needs of the young people, meaning that they are quite responsive. And if the young people seem to be the most vocal of the current generation, using the social media to make their voices heard. And I do not think any government that means well we stay silent or non-responsive to those comments.
Okay. Just before I bring him our way, can you please highlight some of those impactful initiatives of the APC over the past 10 years as contained in the book?
Well, in the area of infrastructure, the book highlights what they've done for infrastructure, the roads, the rail lines, and the airports, the seaports and housing infrastructure. The book also highlighted the policies, the reform policies, and the expectations thereof. Also highlighted a number of the programs they've done for agriculture to address the issue of food security, what they've done for education, made copious description of what the NEL Fund, the National Education Loan Fund, is intended to give equal opportunities to people from less privileged background to attend and obtain university education, stuff like that, you know, and even what they did for primary and tertiary healthcare, what they've done to improve access to university education, creating new universities, and therefore widening access opportunities for people. Quite detailed stuff.
At the risk of asking you to read out the entire book, you know, I wish you could list the states where some of these programs, you know, were executed for people.
Yes, I mean, for instance, I took particular interest in the agricultural sector. We made reference, because starting from the Anchor Boroughs program that was introduced under the Buhari administration, through the efforts they made to provide fertilizers, and then the tractor assembly facility in, I think it was in Zamfara State. So those details are here, which don't make the headlines every day.
Okay. Markwe?
Well, I'd like to continue with the guest, but we do have another guest on standby in our studio. Well, not in our studios now, but the guest is online, virtually joined us, and well, it's clearly deviating from. I'm sure they would disagree very strongly with how the APC, for instance, has handled the issue of security. We have joining us via Zoom Oba Oladipo Olaito, who's an Afenifere leader. Afenifere recently issued a statement, decrying the current security situation in Kwara State and the killing of 11 forest guards who were killed in the line of duty. Good morning, Your Royal Majesty. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. Afenifere's statement has been quite strong and unequivocal in its condemnation of the killing of forest guards. Have there been any reaction to your statement so far?
Thank you very much, Markwe, and thanks for having me. Well, APC is good at what they know how to do, deceive people, manipulate figures, conceal issues. That's their job, they know how to do it. But I should ask you, Markwe, do you feel safe where you are now? Going back home after work, do you feel safe? That's the question. Nigerians will tell them that they haven't done anything towards preserving their lives. They must have an agenda. And then as we progress in this conversation, to give details of what we know they are doing and they're capable of doing. The last administration, before the present government, that APC government, the story is out there that just because they want to rule this nation, hook or crook, they have to go to the extent of importing foreign nationals, Fulanis to be exact, to come to the country and destroy the nation. If they could not get power, they are prepared to destroy the nation. If anybody has that type of mind, what good can come out of it? And the present president, when he was campaigning, he didn't mince words, so only Nigerians weren't listening. He said it may no come. What does that mean? Is either me or nobody else. And to get that is to try to do anything. Like his predecessor did, he invited foreigners, Fulani, to come and kill us. His best friend,
Your Majesty, sorry to interrupt you. Are you suggesting that this insecurity that is being witnessed right now is fueled from government quarters. Is that what you're suggesting?
No doubt about that. You find it difficult to believe? The old strategists amongst them, military man, may so rest in peace. He said if there's insecurity in the nation for more than 24 hours, the government knows about it. Abacha said that much. He said if there is insecurity in the nation for more than 24 hours, damn sure the government knows about it. He knows about that. They didn't know it. You find it difficult to believe? They have the JSS, they have the army, they have all the apparatus. Why is it so difficult to get this done? And even these marauders, these herdsmen, they come on television, you see them granting interviews, all leading with all types of weapons. And politicians, APC men, stand with them, they take pictures with them. What evidence again do you need to have to show that government is with them? What evidence do you want?
In recent times there have been. The first question I asked you, though, you haven't quite answered it. The first question I asked you is if there has been any reaction to the statement of Afenifere, because yes, indeed, it is very disheartening and very worrisome that community efforts such as forest guards, which we now see being implemented in some areas, that 11 of them would just die in one fell swoop. And what is even more disheartening was that, according to some of them, that there was information preceding that particular attack, that community was under siege. So I'm asking now if there has been any reaction to the statement issued by Afenifere, which you haven't quite answered, sir.
No reaction, no reaction. They won't listen to us. They won't listen to us. They won't listen to another Nigeria. If you are doing something and somebody is criticizing you, what reaction do you give? You praise that person for criticizing you? No. The whole place, Kwara, South, Kogi, all this problem now. The place is completely deserted. One would have thought that the president will at least make a statement about this. Nothing. The national security advisor, what he calls himself, said nothing about it. The IGP said nothing about it. Doesn't concern them. They are winning. That's what they think. Nothing. They haven't done anything about it. As far as they are concerned, they are winning.
But when you say that the government of the day, is aware or perhaps is even fostering this sort of situation that we have currently in the land, how does that help any government? I mean, because some people will say it doesn't make any sense. That if there is insecurity in the land, a government doesn't look good at the end of the day because, of course, it comes under criticism for not protecting the people. And security is primary duty.
It is. It is the primary duty of any government, a well-meaning government. But a government that is decided only on grab, snatch, and run with it, doesn't think the way you think. Snatch, grab, and run with it. He said it loud and clear. We all heard him. What does that mean? Snatch, grab, and run with it. What does that mean to you? So if you have that situation on ground now, do you think you'll be happy or unhappy? You'll be happy. He's snatching, he's grabbing, and he's running away with it. And like I said, the old man who said it in so that I keep on saying, he said, when you have, and that's former head of state, he said, if you have insecurity in a place for more than 24 hours, and nothing is done about it, I'm 1,000% sure that government is behind it.
The insecurity, it is interesting that you were quoting Abacha so copiously, because there's anything I also know. I know that Afenifere, was very unhappy, with the regime of General Sani Abacha. But let's put that behind us now. The current security situation that we have in the land has 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 predated the APC government. It came up maybe in 2009 when we started seeing the influx of Boko Haram and the influence of Boko Haram in the northeast of Nigeria. Initially, people did not take it very seriously. They imagined it was something that was going to go away, but sadly, it didn't. It consumed about 3 states, with Borno State being the epicenter. Just when we thought we had a handle on that, much later we saw what was happening in the southeast. There was, some protest of sorts, agitations towards, defecting from Nigeria. I'm looking for the right words now. I can't seem to find it. Some people saying they do not want to be a part of Nigeria, which also spiraled downwards into another security threat. We've also seen pockets of issues here and there, kidnapping, banditry in the south, in the southwest. Even a leader of Afeniferi's daughter was consumed in this kidnapping problems that the southwest also faced. But in recent times, the concentration of this banditry problem, which is the tag that we have chosen to categorize this particular issue under, has been the northwest of Nigeria, where we've seen another new battle. It's come under different, different guises, so to speak. But we see it in the northwest of the country, spiraling downwards towards the north central. The north central has also had its own fair share. All of this, some people have said, oh, there is an agenda. There is an agenda to make the country unstable, or there is an agenda to take over certain parts. There is a land grabbing effort. We've seen it in Plateau, in Benue, now in Kwara, in Niger State as well. So is Afenifere taking a more holistic look at this security problem, instead of just saying, oh, this is about politics, some people just want to grab power, or they want to grab and run? Because at the end of the day, if we continue to politicize the problems, will we find a solution, the right solution to what is currently bedeviling our land?
You are the one politicizing it, I'm not. I've just told you what they are doing and what they intend to do and what they intend to achieve. I didn't politicize it.
Who are the they, sir?
Thank you, the government. I've just told you that one of their leaders before said, and he must know, he said that once you have insecurity in place for more than 24 hours, the government has a hand in it. I didn't say it. The former head of state said it. And now we're talking about what the last president did. May so rest in peace. It was his regime that imported Fulanis to this country. El-Rufai said it, admitted it on television, and they were negotiating to pay them money. These are not fit of that government, isn't it? Is it not the same APC? The same APC imported bandits into this country. And the current government is APC, and you're saying, I'm not politicizing. I'm telling you what happened.
Your Majesty, if I may, the interview with former Governor El-Rufai, it just so happens that, we conducted that particular interview. And yes. I do not recall that he said that they imported Fulanis into the country. What he did say was that some Fulanis who normally herd cows into the country were caught up in a post-election conflict, and their cattle and their people were killed. And that as a result, they launched an onslaught onto some parts of this country, which they had to now go and see how they could compensate them. That he made a trip outside of this country to see how they could seek peace, so to speak, while also offering compensation. That was the crux of the interview, of that particular bit. At what point did we hear the part where he said government brought in Fulani people?
I'm sorry you're saying this, and you're a Nigerian and a news person, you must know. They admitted it that they brought Fulanis into this country to win election. They didn't hide it. They said after they finished, they wanted those Fulanis to go back, and they didn't go back, so they wanted money, and they were negotiating how much to pay them. They mentioned, you're Nigerian, you're a news person, you must know.
Was that a separate interview? Was it former Governor El-Rufai who said this?
What does it matter?
It
What does
matters,
it matter?
Your
Are you
Majesty.
saying,
Just so that
are you,
we're not mixing the situation up. We do not mix
are
the...
you saying, are you saying that this statement I'm saying didn't come out in Nigeria? Are you saying it wasn't in the air? It wasn't out there? Are you saying Nigerians don't know that the APC under Buhari imported Fulanis into this country to win election? Are you saying you don't know? Come on, are you saying you don't know?
I'm seeking to confirm the evidence of your statement, sir. That's what I'm seeking to confirm.
I've just told you. I've told you that this is what happened. I told you that El-Rufai specifically mentioned that he was negotiating with them. So when a government official says they are negotiating with bandits, one, it presupposes that they know the bandits. If you know the bandits, you negotiate with bandits or you deal with them. The very moment the government starts off public and say we are negotiating and we want to pay, what evidence do you have of complicity? What other evidence do you have? Do you negotiate with armed robbers? Do you negotiate with somebody that's going to kill you? You can't say and sit down with someone to kill you.
Yeah, it's interesting because only recently, I think it was the former chief of defense staff who wrote a book, and just yesterday he happened to be on my colleague's program. It was on a sister program, Politics Today, where he spoke about what he believes government needs to be doing, that we are at war and that government needs to, will I say, come up with an all-of-state approach to see how it is that we can deal with this insecurity, because it is truly worrisome. And every Nigerian has a right to be worried about this particular issue. But let me take this to my colleague now, Ayo, whom I understand also has a few questions for you.
Thank you, Maokwe. Your Majesty, depending on who's listening or on whose side one is, one wonders occasionally, whether you think the people themselves have a role to play in any of the issues that come up from time to time or not. Well, there is definitely the place for government at various levels. But do you think we as a people have a role to play, a responsibility in the kind of nation that we want? Can you hear me, Your Majesty? Okay. Well, while we are hoping that we'll be able to get to His Majesty, well, Prof, I'm sure you've listened to some of that conversation, but in the book that we're talking about here, there are questions you heard that more of the issues that His Majesty is raising is around security. Sure. Do you think there is anything in this book that spoke to the challenges of it or the efforts or successes of the government in that regard?
Oh, sure, yes. Okay. Security, they talked about security as part of their manifesto campaign. The book talked about what the government has done, from the days of late President Buhari up until now. I acknowledge that the progress hasn't been as we all would wish, as much as we all wish, and lists it also as some of the challenges they have to take on going forward.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Your Majesty, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, beautiful. I was asking if you think that the people also, we the people, in various parts of the country, have a responsibility in everything that is happening in our country, particularly in the local levels.
Of course we do. Any average human being wants to protect himself, whether you're a politician or you're not. If you have a family, you have a duty to protect your family. And we were doing it as much as we could before these people came into power. You will recall there was a time, there was this general order that everybody must give up whatever arms, weapons they have. And they were going to assure us of adequate protection. And Nigerians started tuning out and submitting all their weapons. Because after they finish submitting and collecting all their weapons on them, then they unleash this problem on them. In the recent one in Kwara, just before the bandits came in, he came to them and said, "We want to service your weapon for you." They collected weapons from them and then came that same night and started killing them. And you say the government doesn't know anything about it. Of course, Nigerians, any human being, we want to protect himself. We will. And what we have what are saying is this. We are telling Nigerians, please stand up now. It is too late to begin to trust this government to protect it. They have shown it to us clearly that they cannot do it. They don't even want to do it.
Well, Your Majesty,
stand up and defend it.
If you don't mind me butting in, sir, we don't have just one government. We have one at the center. We have 36 in the various states. And we have at least 774 in the various local government areas. They have their responsibilities as well. In fact, from my experience and from what I know, the local government systems themselves have their security councils. That's where the lowest level of security, if I can put it that way, happens. And I know that monarchs, such as your humble self, sir, are sometimes called into those security meetings. So can you tell us from you, it's the reason I asked the first question, whether or not security at the local levels is effective, particularly now that they are supposedly getting a lot more money and getting it directly at the local governments?
Thank you so much. I sometimes wonder when questions like this are asked from well-rooted, respected journalists. Are you saying to me that any Nigerian can own arms? Is that what you are saying? Are you saying another Nigerian is eligible to own arms to defend himself? Is that what you are saying? And you know it's not true. You cannot own arms. If you don't own arms, how do you defend yourself? You can continue to attend meetings for the rest of your life, but you don't have arms to defend yourself. How do you do it? You know it. Why are you asking this type of question? Are you saying an average Nigerian can just go and buy a weapon and defend himself? You
My
have
apologies.
to get license from these same people.
My apologies, Your Majesty. There is something that you said earlier.
Yes,
There's something that you said earlier.
Yes.
You said we did that before these people came. What were the things that you were doing at the time?
I hope you didn't get me right. What did I say? I said we did what?
You said there is a way that the people were protecting themselves before these people came. Those were your words. What are those things that you were doing before?
And I told you that the point they came and asked us to surrender weapons and they took the weapons from us. I told you that as well. Are you saying you are not aware of that time in Nigeria?
But now that we have,
not aware?
Now that we have local government,
weapons from us.
okay, now that we have local government administrations and they are supposed to champion security at the lowest levels in the localities, because all insecurity is local and all security should also be local.
Why are you talking like this? This your job is very sweet. Why are you talking like this?
Are you saying that the local government administrations, are you saying that the local government chairmen are useless, they are ineffective, they're not doing anything?
Whatever you like to call them,
it's just a question, sir.
And I know.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you. You know and I know. I'm surprised to ask you this question. Are you telling me that you don't know that the governor of the state cannot even order the commissioner of police in the state? Are you saying you don't know? Come on now, yo. Are you saying you don't know that even the governor of the state cannot even direct the affairs, cannot instruct the commissioner of police in the state? Are you saying you don't know that? If the governor were to call the commissioner of police in the state and give him instruction, we say, okay, yes, sir, let him talk to the IG first and know whether I can do something. Are you saying you don't know?
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Are you saying you know? I was the special advisor on security for Lagos State. Wait a minute. I was the special advisor on security for Lagos State between 1979 anarchy in 15. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know. The governor is just sitting duck there. He's a sitting duck there himself. He gets reports about him every day. You have these people following, these governors don't even do anything. All these policemen following them and they're gathering information about them to pass to the center. They don't know.
Your Majesty, just 1 second.
You don't know?
I'll come back to you in a moment, Your Majesty. Prof, this book we're talking about was written by a governor, a sitting governor.
Yes.
Well, the time that His Majesty was talking to, there was the 1979 Constitution that was in power, enforced at the time. Now we have the 1999 Constitution amended about 4 or 5 times already. From what you read in this book, do you see validity in what His Majesty said, that the governor of any state in Nigeria is a sitting duck and cannot really take any action as far as security is concerned from the records in the book?
Well, the issue of governors not being able to do much, in terms of security is a recurrent decimal, although, because it comes up all the time in current affairs when they claim that the appellation that they're the chief security officers of their states is just in name. It's a worrying one. But I doubt if it's a constitutional issue or if it's a kind of thing that requires one of these things that can be is that restructuring of the security architecture that can come from, I don't know if it's a constitutional or something the president commander-in-chief can just do.
Okay. Well, Your Majesty, I'd like to take your final word on this, particularly in the light of what the people need to do. You're saying that the people should rise up and do something. Since we have a constitutional governance and we have a democracy in place and all of that, and the 36 state governors are earning days' pays. They collect security votes and all of that to protect their people. They govern, they campaigned with promises. What would be your advice to them in 30 seconds?
I mean the Constitution. We've been talking about restructuring. Afghanistan has been talking about restructuring for decades. It won't be seen to us. Decentralize the police command. Let every state have its own police command. They keep telling us they can't pay. They have to leave it to them. Let them find out whether they can pay or not. We'll get to that. That's the difference. When I was young, we used to have the 2 policemen going around the street doing their job. Did they have money then? It's a question of will. It's a question of what you want done. How would they? There's a lot going on. I wish you have time here. Take me on this your channel for 1 hour and let us talk. If you have the courage to listen to me and you have the courage to hear what I'm going to say. Well, I've been in this job for over 40 years. I know what I'm talking about. If they don't have it this way, they will not be able to win elections. If the president will not command the police everywhere, we won't be able to win elections. And that's why we're talking about police state, and they won't let it happen. Because if we have police state, they won't be able to win elections in all the states.
Okay. Well,
it's simple. It's very simple. Very simple.
Now you have thrown a challenge at me, and Your Majesty, it's one that we will definitely take on one of these days and have that conversation. But for now, we have to thank you so much for your time. Oba Oladipo Olaiton is a leader of Afenifere. We appreciate your time this morning. And Prof, we cannot but thank you as well for your time today. And perhaps one thing we can close with is to find a way to ensure that every Nigerian, is able to access this book, particularly young people.
Well, I'm sure one good thing that happened at the public presentation is some adoption of this book as by the APC. I believe that they have what it takes to make that available. Maybe make the paperback versions will be a lot cheaper for those who may want to buy, or make them available in public libraries so people can access, borrow, and read.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Professor Bennett Chima Mwaguma is the book reviewer of that book by Governor Hope Uzodimma, A Decade of Progressive, Impactful Governance in Nigeria. Joined us here in the studio. We appreciate your time today.
Oh, thank you, Ayo. Thank you very much for having me.
And that's the show today. Thank you again for the privilege of your company. I'm Ayo Makinde. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for watching. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf. Business Morning is on top of the hour.